Every American home garden right now is planting the same marigolds, the same petunias, the same annuals that die every single winter and demand to be repurchased every single spring. Not because you made a bad choice, because nobody ever showed you what was actually possible. These 14 perennial flowers are so visually extraordinary they stop strangers mid-step. They handle brutal winters, neglected corners, and forgotten garden beds. And they come back fuller and more breathtaking every single year for life. And the one at number 14, that is the flower the entire specialist nursery world has been quietly hoping you never learn to grow yourself. Somewhere in this video is the story of a retired teacher in Ohio who planted only petunias for 15 years, until 3 plants from this list turned her garden into the most photographed yard on her street. Before plant number 1, drop your state in the comments right now. Your USDA zone completely changes which of these performs best for you. And I will be calling out specific zones throughout this entire video. Find yours and pay attention. The black bat flower, Tacca chantrieri, produces blooms so dark and so architecturally precise that botanists spent decades debating whether something in nature could actually grow this way without human intervention. Those jet black winged bracts stretch nearly 12 inches across, and the trailing whisker tendrils, some reaching 28 inches, move in the slightest breeze exactly the way a living creature would. Gardeners in zones 9 through 11 grow it outdoors year-round, but Americans in zone 4 and above have been successfully overwintering it as a container plant near a bright indoor window for less than $35. The mistake most people make is planting it in direct sun. This plant evolved under dense rainforest canopy and full shade is not a preference. It is a biological requirement. Give it filtered light, consistent moisture, and it returns every single year with more blooms than the season before. But if the black bat flower represents pure darkness, what comes next is its absolute opposite. A flower so delicate and so white it has been compared to a snow egret landing on still water. Plant number 2 grows naturally in American Zone 5 gardens with no greenhouse required, and almost nobody has ever heard of it. The white egret orchid, Habenaria radiata, is a fully cold-hardy terrestrial orchid that produces blooms shaped so precisely like a white egret in mid-flight that Japanese botanists originally classified it as a bird specimen before examining it under a lens. It grows from a small bulb costing $12 to $30, naturalizes in zone 5 through 9 without winter protection, and multiplies underground every season, meaning the single bulb you plant this spring becomes a spreading colony of flight-shaped blooms within 3 years at zero additional cost. Most American gardeners make the mistake of planting it in dry border beds. This orchid evolved in moist Japanese meadows and performs best at the edge of a water feature or in consistently damp soil. One authenticated horticultural note worth knowing: this species is documented in traditional Japanese flower arranging, ikebana, for over 400 years, specifically because its bloom form is considered unrepeatable in the natural world. Have you ever grown an orchid outdoors in the ground? Not in a pot, not in a greenhouse, but directly in your garden bed? Drop it below, because plant number 3 has been revered in Hindu temple gardens for 3,000 years, and it carries a warning most nurseries will never print on the label. The Gloriosa lily, Gloriosa superba, has been planted at the entrance of Hindu temples across South Asia for over 3,000 years, not as decoration, but as a living symbol of transformation. Its petals reflex completely upward as the bloom matures, which ancient botanists interpreted as a flower reaching towards something greater than itself. It climbs 6 feet on a single season's growth, produces blooms in zones 8 through 10 outdoors, and from zone 4 upward as a lifted bulb, and one bulb costing $10 to $25 can be divided into multiple new tubers at the end of each season, compounding your planting permanently at no additional cost. The critical mistake is treating it like a standard lily. Gloriosa superba contains colchicine, a potent alkaloid, meaning this plant is ornamental only and must never be confused with edible lily varieties. Plant it in your garden as the architectural showpiece it has always been, and keep it clearly labeled. Zones 5 through 7 gardeners lift the tuber before first frost, store it dry through winter, and replant each spring. A 30-minute task that preserves a plant worth far more than its purchase price. This is not here to make you afraid of your own garden. It is here because your family deserves to know exactly what they are growing, and nobody at that garden center was ever going to tell you this unprompted. If you are watching and not yet subscribed, here is what that actually means. YouTube will stop putting this content in your feed. Not slow it down, stop. Natural Verge releases plant knowledge every single week, built specifically for American viewers who want real answers. Hit subscribe now, it is free and it always will be. The chocolate cosmos, Cosmos atrosanguineus, has been extinct in the wild since the 1930s. And every single specimen growing in American gardens today descends from one clonal line preserved by a Mexican botanist who refused to let it disappear permanently from the earth. It produces deep burgundy blooms so dark they appear almost black in shade, and they release a genuine dark chocolate scent, not a gardener's imagination, not a marketing description. A documented vanillin compound that intensifies in warm afternoon sun. It grows in Zone 7 through 10 outdoors, and Zone 4 gardeners treat it as a lifted tuber through winter. One plant costing $8 to $20 multiplies through division every 2 seasons into a permanent spreading colony that costs nothing to expand. The mistake most growers make is deadheading aggressively. Chocolate Cosmos produces more blooms when spent flowers are removed at the stem base, but the plant requires a rest period in late season to store energy in its tuber. And cutting it to the ground too early shortens bloom life significantly. And we have not even reached number 14 yet. That one changes everything. But first, what comes next is the only true blue flower most American gardeners will ever grow. And it grows naturally in the coldest zones on this entire list. Plant number 5 has defeated more experienced gardeners than almost any flower in this video. And the reason why is something no garden center has ever explained correctly. The Himalayan blue poppy, Meconopsis botanicifolia, produces a color so impossibly pure that the first Western botanists to encounter it in the Tibetan highlands in 1922 sent specimens back to London and were told by colleagues that the blue pigment must have been artificially applied because no flowering plant was known to produce that exact shade of sky blue naturally. It thrives in zones 3 through 7, which makes it one of the few otherworldly perennials on this list that serves the coldest American growing zones: Minnesota, Montana, the upper Midwest, where most rare perennials simply will not survive. The mistake that defeats most experienced gardeners is planting it in alkaline soil. Himalayan blue poppy requires acidic conditions between pH 5.5 and 6.5. And in neutral or alkaline soil, the blue pigment fades to a washed-out lavender that bears no resemblance to the plant's true capability. At $8 to $20 per plant, it is one of the most affordable entries on this list, and in the right cool acidic conditions it self-seeds gently, establishing a permanent naturalized colony that requires no annual replanting. Did you believe that true blue was simply impossible in a garden flower? That every blue flower you had ever seen was really just a shade of purple or violet? Be completely honest in the comments, because plant number 6 was declared extinct by European botanists in the 1940s, and it turned out to be growing wild on a volcanic island the entire time. Parrot's beak, Lotus bertholodii, was declared extinct in the wild by European botanists in the 1940s after its only known habitat on the Canary Islands appeared to have lost its native pollinator. A sunbird that had vanished from the island, making this one of the only garden perennials you can grow that exists in cultivation, because horticulturalists intervened before the last specimens disappeared. It produces curved, hooked, scarlet orange blooms along silver needle-like trailing foliage that cascades from hanging baskets or stone walls in a way that stops visitors mid-sentence. Zones 10 and 11 grow it as a permanent outdoor perennial, while Zone 4 and above gardeners have kept it thriving for years as a container plant brought indoors before first frost. With plants costing $10 to $25, the mistake most growers make is overwatering. Parrot's beak evolved in a volcanic island climate with excellent drainage and intermittent dry periods. And consistently wet roots cause rapid crown rot that kills the plant within 2 weeks. One practical note worth knowing, because its original pollinator is now absent from its native range, the only way parrot's beak reproduces in the wild today is through human propagation, meaning every plant in American gardens is a direct continuation of a conservation effort that began in the 1940s. This channel exists for Americans who have spent enough seasons making expensive mistakes they were never warned about. If that is you, and if you are in your 50s or 60s, subscribe right now. Every week, new content. Zone aware, dollar grounded, built for your actual life. Plant number 7 blooms in September, when every other flower in your garden has already given up. And in Japanese tradition, it has marked the boundary between the living world and what comes after for over 1,000 years. The red spider lily, Lycoris radiata, has been planted at the edges of Japanese ancestral grave sites for over 1,000 years, not as a mourning symbol, but as a practical boundary marker. Its bulbs contain lycorine, a toxic alkaloid that prevents rodents and burrowing animals from disturbing the ground, making it one of the oldest documented examples of a plant used simultaneously for beauty and protection. It emerges from completely bare earth in September. No foliage, no warning, just crimson stems erupting suddenly and opening into fire-red spider blooms. A display so dramatically unexpected that gardeners who see it for the first time often photograph it before they even identify it. Zones 6 through 10 gardeners grow it as a permanent naturalized perennial, and a bulb pack costing $8 to $20 expands into a permanent spreading colony over 5 to 7 years with zero maintenance required once established. The mistake most American gardeners make is planting it in spring. Red spider lily bulbs must be planted in late summer or early fall to synchronize with their natural emergence cycle, and spring planting delays bloom by a full year. But the red spider lily blooms for 3 weeks and then disappears completely. What comes next blooms for a single night only once, and then it is gone forever, until the following year. Plant number 8 is the only flower on this list that requires you to stay awake past midnight to witness it. And the biological reason why is something most gardeners have never been told. The queen of the night cactus, Selenacharius grandiflorus, produces blooms that open fully only between 10 at night and 2 in the morning, remain open for approximately 4 hours, and then collapse permanently, meaning every single bloom this plant produces exists for less time than a single night's sleep. And if you miss it, that particular flower is gone until the following season. The blooms themselves reach 12 inches across, emit a powerful vanilla jasmine fragrance that carries across an entire yard, and the plant produces multiple buds in sequence across a single season. So the experience repeats, but each individual bloom is a single irreplaceable event. Zones 10 through 12 grow it outdoors permanently, and Zone 4 and above gardeners have grown it successfully for decades as an indoor container plant near a south-facing window, with plants available for $10 to $28. The mistake most growers make is watering it on a regular schedule. Queen of the Night is a cactus that requires a distinct dry period in winter to trigger the bloom cycle, and consistent year-round watering prevents it from flowering entirely. What plant, remedy, or garden situation has defeated every single thing you have tried? Drop it below, because the community here has answers that no garden center employee will ever give you. Plant number 9 is the rarest color in the plant kingdom, a true turquoise cascade that specialist nurseries sell for up to $80 a cutting. And it grows indoors in every American zone with the right support. Specialist nurseries charge between $45 and $80 for a rooted jade vine cutting. Strongylodont's macrobotries, Because true turquoise is so rare in the plant kingdom that botanists have documented fewer than a dozen species worldwide that produce it. And the jade vine produces it in cascading racemes of claw-shaped blooms that hang in clusters up to 3 feet long from overhead supports. It is critically endangered in its native Philippine rainforest habitat, where documented populations have declined by over 80% due to deforestation, meaning every jade vine growing in an American home today is a living conservation act. Zone 10 through 12 gardeners grow it outdoors permanently, on pergolas and overhead structures, while Zone 6 and above gardeners have maintained it successfully indoors near large south-facing windows with supplemental grow lighting through winter. The key is providing the overhead support it needs to display its hanging racemes properly. The mistake most indoor growers make is placing it flat against a wall. Jade vine needs to cascade downward from an elevated support point to produce its characteristic pendulous bloom display, and a plant trained horizontally along a shelf will produce sparse blooms at best. That is 9 plants, and not one of them required a specialist greenhouse, an advanced degree in horticulture, or more than a single afternoon of setup. But somewhere between that first black bat flower and everything that followed, there is a story that belongs here. And this is exactly the right moment to tell it. Earlier I mentioned a retired teacher in Ohio. Here is exactly what happened. Margaret was 62, Zone 6, and had planted petunias in the same 4 border beds every spring for 15 consecutive years. Not because she lacked taste, but because nobody had ever shown her that anything else was possible in her zone. In the spring of her 16th gardening season, she added 3 plants from a list like this. 1, a black bat flower in a container by the porch, a red spider lily bulb pack along the fence line, and a blue zebra primrose cluster at the front border. By September, neighbors she had never spoken to were stopping at her fence to photograph the red spider lily emerging from bare earth, crimson fire with nothing around it. By the following spring, the blue zebra primrose had spread naturally into a dense border colony, requiring 0 intervention, documented in traditional horticulture going back generations. Plants that multiply themselves are not a luxury, they are the foundation of a self-sustaining garden. Margaret spent under $60 total and has not purchased a single annual replacement since. The monkey face orchid, Draculasemia, grows a biologically precise monkey face at the center of each bloom, complete with eyes, a nose, and a mouth formed from the natural arrangement of the flower's column and lip. A convergence so anatomically specific that it was formally documented in botanical literature as an example of pareidolia in plant evolution, though the face itself is considered structurally functional rather than coincidental. It grows naturally at elevations above 3,000 feet in Ecuadorian cloud forests, blooms in any season when conditions are right, and produces multiple flowers simultaneously on pendant stems that hang below the foliage, meaning the monkey faces look upward from beneath the plant in a way that makes first-time viewers stop and genuinely question what they are looking at. Zone 9 through 11 gardeners grow it in shaded outdoor conditions, but the critical requirement for all zones is cool temperatures. This orchid requires nighttime temperatures between 45 and 60 degrees Fahrenheit to bloom, making it an ideal candidate for a cool basement grow light setup or an unheated porch through the milder months. At $18 to $55 per plant, it is the most conversation-stopping entry on this list, and it produces blooms at any time of year, not on a fixed seasonal schedule. But the monkey face orchid grows a primate face by biological accident. What comes next grows something far more deliberate, far more specific, and recognized by botanists across 3 continents as one of the most anatomically precise mimicry structures in the entire plant kingdom. Plant number 11 has been documented in Mediterranean herbal tradition for over 2,000 years, and its bloom will make you stop and look twice before you believe it is real. The naked man orchid, Orchis italica, produces bloom spikes carrying dozens of individual florets, each shaped with unmistakable anatomical precision, into a miniature human figure, head, arms, torso, and legs fully formed, a mimicry structure so specific that it has been documented in Mediterranean botanical illustration since ancient Greek records, where it appeared in early herbals as evidence that plants carried encoded human knowledge within their forms. It grows from a small bulb, costing $10 to $25, naturalizes reliably in zones 5 through 9, and produces taller and more densely packed bloom spikes each successive year as the bulb colony matures, meaning a 3-bulb planting becomes a dramatic multi-spike display within 5 seasons at zero additional cost. The mistake most American gardeners make is planting it in rich amended soil. Naked man orchid evolved in the thin, alkaline, rocky soils of Mediterranean hillsides, and overly fertile conditions produce lush foliage with weak, floppy bloom spikes that cannot support the weight of the floret cluster. Lean, well-drained, slightly alkaline soil is not a limitation for this plant. It is the exact condition that produces its most vertical, most densely flowered performance. Drop your state in the comments right now. Your USDA zone completely changes which of these 14 performs best for you. And I will be calling out specific zones through every remaining plant. Plant number 12 exists in American gardens today only because one botanist in 1765 refused to leave a dying grove of trees without collecting their seeds. And what he saved has never been found in the wild again. The Franklin tree, Franklinia alitamaha, has not been seen growing in the wild since 1803. When botanist John Bartram made the last recorded observation of a natural population along the Altamaha River in Georgia, and every Franklin tree growing in American gardens today, without exception, descends from seeds collected by Bartram and his son William before that wild population vanished permanently from the earth. It produces large camellia white blooms with golden stamens in late summer and early fall, a season when almost nothing else in an American garden is flowering, then transitions into brilliant autumn foliage of crimson and orange before going dormant, giving it 3 distinct seasons of ornamental value from a single planting. It grows in zones 5 through 9, reaches 12 to 20 feet at maturity, costs $20 to $45 as a nursery specimen, and requires no annual replanting, establishing as a permanent garden presence that outlasts every annual and most perennials in the landscape. The mistake most gardeners make is planting it in poorly drained clay. Franklin tree requires consistently moist but well-drained acidic soil, and wet roots through winter cause root rot that kills even established specimens. And that is genuinely what it means to plant something with history. A living specimen connected by an unbroken chain of cultivation to the last wild trees on Earth. But plant number 13 grows in Zone 3, the coldest growing zone in America, and it produces a bloom so impossibly striped and vivid that most viewers assume the photographs have been digitally altered before they see one in person. The blue zebra primrose, Primula vulgaris, blue zebra, produces petals so precisely striped and alternating vivid blue and white that plant photographers routinely receive accusations of digital manipulation when they post images online, because the stripe pattern is more graphically precise than anything the human eye associates with a naturally occurring flower. It is one of the most cold-hardy entries on this entire list, thriving in zones 3 through 8, meaning American gardeners in Minnesota, Montana, North Dakota, and the upper Midwest can grow one of the most visually extraordinary perennials in the world, without any special protection, any winter lifting, or any greenhouse requirement whatsoever. At $8 to $20 per plant, it spreads naturally by offsets each season, forming a dense colony of striped blooms at the front of a border that emerges reliably every spring before most other plants in the garden have broken dormancy. The mistake most gardeners make is planting it in summer heat. Blue zebra primrose blooms in cool spring conditions and goes dormant through summer heat, and gardeners who remove it, assuming it has died, lose the plant permanently instead of allowing it to re-emerge the following spring. 13 plants, and the 14th is the one I mentioned in the very first 30 seconds of this video. The flower with no leaves, no soil roots, and a bloom so rare that seeing one in the wild is considered a once-in-a-lifetime event by the botanists who study it. This is plant number 14, and this is exactly the moment I promised you. This is the plant I mentioned at the very beginning, number 14. The Ghost Orchid, Dendrophylax lindonii, and here is what makes it unlike anything else on this list or any other. It has no leaves, not because it lost them, but because it photosynthesizes entirely through its green roots, which fuse directly to the bark of host trees and absorb moisture from the air around them, meaning this plant lives entirely on light, air, and humidity without a single gram of soil contact. Wild populations exist only in the swamps of South Florida and Cuba, zones 10 through 12, and documented sightings of blooming specimens in the wild are considered rare botanical events. The Ghost Orchid gained widespread American attention after Susan Orlean's documented search for a single blooming plant in Florida became the subject of a nationally published book. Zone 5 and above gardeners have successfully cultivated Ghost Orchid mounted on cork bark slabs inside high-humidity indoor vivariums. With supplemental lighting, plants cost $20 to $60 from specialist growers. And the honest limitation here is real. This is the most demanding plant on this entire list, and it rewards patient, humidity-committed growers only. That is not a warning. That is exactly the kind of truth this channel exists to tell you before you spend your money, not after. A flower that photosynthesizes through its roots, produces blooms that appear to float in midair, and has been the subject of documented botanical expeditions across 3 decades. That is not a garden plant. That is a living argument that the natural world is still capable of producing things we cannot fully explain. We are not ending here. 3 things about this list that most plant channels will never tell you, and they are worth knowing before you order a single bulb. First, the Franklin tree's wild extinction was confirmed not by environmental catastrophe, but by overcollection. Botanists in the 1700s collected specimens so aggressively from the single known wild population that the grove could not regenerate, making it one of the earliest documented cases of botanical overcollection in American history, a pattern the conservation community now uses as a primary teaching example. Second, the chocolate cosmos near extinction was not caused by habitat loss. It was caused by a fungal disease that swept through its Mexican native range in the early 20th century. And the single surviving clonal line was preserved by a British horticulturalist who had received a cutting years earlier, meaning the entire global population of chocolate cosmos traces to one cutting in one English greenhouse. Third, the Queen of the Night's single night bloom is not a random biological event. It is triggered by a precise combination of temperature drop, barometric pressure change, and accumulated light hours, which is why the same plant can bloom on the same calendar week across multiple seasons with remarkable consistency. If you are in zone 3 through 6, the coldest American growing zones, you're starting for blue zebra primrose, Himalayan blue poppy, naked man orchid, and red spider lily, all cold adaptable, all zone confirmed. Total investment between $46 and $95 for all 4. And every one of them returns and multiplies permanently without annual replanting. If you are in zone 7 through 9, add Gloriosa lily, Franklin tree, white egret orchid, and chocolate cosmos to that foundation. A complete 8-plant otherworldly perennial garden for under $150 planted once. Zone 10 and above, the full list is available to you outdoors, including jade vine, parrot's beak, and ghost orchid in the right humid conditions. The most complete rare perennial garden achievable in any American growing zone. Every plant on this list was chosen because it meets one non-negotiable standard. It comes back fuller, wider, and more established, every single year without being repurchased. That is not gardening, that is investing. And the returns compound permanently from the moment the first bulb goes into the ground. You just received zone-accurate, dollar-grounded, research-based plant knowledge for 14 of the most visually extraordinary perennials alive. Knowledge that most gardening channels will never put in one place, because it takes decades of accumulated understanding to know which 14 actually matter. That is what every Natural Verge video delivers. Every single week, built specifically for American viewers who want real plant knowledge, real zone accuracy, and real dollar logic that holds up in the actual ground. Hit like, hit subscribe, and turn on the bell, because the next video is already built and it is waiting for you. Subscribe to Natural Verge, the plants your great-grandmother knew, the ones the supplement industry quietly monetized, and the ones the nursery trade never bothered to explain. We find them every single week, and we bring them directly to you.